Welcome back to the channel. Today's going to be an exciting trip. I'm heading 3 hours south down to Injidup Spa, where I'm going to meet Rowney and Virat Shah. Links in the section below. Greg's been down there most of today, doing a bit of a scout for us. The idea is that we're going to head down to Injidup Spa. It'll be pretty late by the time I get there, which is perfect because I'm going to be doing some astrophotography. And then we'll probably head somewhere else, possibly Canal rocks. Why the mattress? Well, I'm going to deck out the back of the car so that I can sleep down there overnight. It's going to be a pretty late finish and I don't want to be driving back too tired. So I'm going to set up the back of the car, get some sleep overnight, and then just take it easy coming back and get some more shots. I'm just going to finish packing the back of the car. Well, that's the car all packed. Quick check of the weather. It looks like we're going to be in for some cloudless skies tonight, which is going to be awesome. So I'm just going to grab a coffee and head off. I've made it to Injidup Natural Spa. It was a bit of a bigger climb than I expected. I'm currently sitting on the top of a cliff. You can probably hear the water, but it is pretty much a straight sliding slope down to the water. So given that it's night time, this is probably about as far as I'm going to venture, just for the sake of safety. Got a lot more photography planned for tonight, so I don't want to take a tumble, do anything stupid, something like that. The spa itself is pretty straight down. I'm actually just in front of it now, and that water, the sound of the water that you can hear is actually the water rushing through to actually fill up the spa. I'll probably come back during the day. It's going to be easier to hike up the rocks and then back down again closer to the spa. So it'll probably be a better idea to do that while it's daylight. I was also going to come back here and just fly the drone. For the moment, I'm just going to set up my camera. The Milky Way itself is probably about another 10 minutes away from actually being visible. We are in, I think it's a Bortle 4 area, so we should be able to get some nice shots. For those that don't know, the Bortle is pretty much a scale of the amount of light pollution. So Bortle 1 is pretty much complete darkness and be able to see the Milky Way with the visible eye, all the way up to something like a Bortle 8, Bortle 9, which is pretty much in the middle of the city. So Bortle 4 is actually quite good, and I'll be able to get some nice shots of the Milky Way from what I can see. The wind had picked up a lot by this point of the night, and between the sound of the waves and the wind there was not much else the microphone was picking up. This is the main setting for the photos that I was going to take of the Milky Way. I had the Star Watcher Star Adventurer 2 sitting directly on top of the tripod. This is made up of the equatorial wedge, which is used to set up the tracker for the latitude we were at. Then there is the main body of the tracker, which attaches to the wedge and needs to be aligned south to counter for the rotation of the Earth, given that we're in the southern hemisphere. The mounting assembly connects to the tracker, and I also have a Z plate from Move Shoot Move, which I use to level everything before I place my Benro geared head on top. After many years of using a ball head on my tripod, I'm a convert to using geared heads, especially when doing panoramic images. I have the camera sitting on top of the geared head in portrait mode, ready to take a series of images that I will merge later for the panoramic view. I have a myops trigger, which I would normally use with the camera in bulb mode so that I can take those shots up to 3 minutes, but tonight I decided not to work, so I was stuck taking images of only 30 seconds. These are the images I took for the panoramic foreground. I took these with a Canon 16mm f2.8 lens with an exposure time of 30 seconds, which is the most that I can go to in manual mode given that the myops was not working. It's also a good reminder to make sure that I have a backup trigger next time. ISO was 4000, which was probably higher than I would normally go to for a foreground, and the aperture was f2.8, which is as wide open as that lens would go. But this allowed as much light onto the sensor as possible, which I needed given the maximum exposure time of 30 seconds. I was also lucky enough to capture a little bit of aurora, and after stitching it all together, here's the shot. We finished up at Injidup Spa. Greg, Virat and myself decided to come down to Canal rocks. We've kind of already got a Milky Way. We've got a foreground from Injidup Spa. and we thought we would come down to Canal Rocks, get another foreground, and maybe use the same Milky Way, just so we can have another foreground to play with essentially. So the idea is we'll just follow the pathway, get through to the other side, take some shots of the rocks, and that will make up another foreground essentially for the same Milky Way. Greg, Virat and I finished up at Injidup Spa last night and decided to head down to Canal Rocks. We managed to take a couple of panoramic images, one of the rocks, and I went down with Virat to take an image of the boardwalk there. After that, we just tried to get some sleep. So this is where I was sleeping last night. Not too uncomfortable. I only got about 4 hours sleep, but it does mean that I can stay down here and do some more photography. I'm thinking about heading down to Injidup Spa again to take some drone shots. It looked really nice, and I think a drone would actually do it justice, especially a top-down view of the spa itself. So after last night, I thought it would be worthwhile coming down to Injidup Spa once again during the daylight hours to actually see what the place looked like, and with some better lights. I'm a little bit further down than where it was last night. It's still quite a treacherous climb down, probably a little bit more than I would normally venture, but it's definitely worth it. So I've actually come down probably about halfway, lined up with the waves coming through that actually fill up the spa. I've also had the drone up as well to have a bit of a fly. Got some nice shots out of that and some nice video. So there's a couple of things I'm going to deck out the back of the car.